Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvabhignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu me sada Yenakshara samamnayam Adhigamya maheshwarat Kritsnam vyakaranam proktam Tasmai paninaye namaha Vakyakaram vararuchim Bhashyakaram patanjalim Paninim sutrakarancha Pranatosmi munitrayam Vagartha viva sampriktau Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste, welcome. So we have been looking at our Halanta-subantam, Halanta Pratipadika. So looking at consonant ending Pratipadika and making nouns. So Halanta-subanta rhymes. What we're going to do is we'll review quickly of this sugan, and then we can go to our next Pratipadika. But first we can chant. Let's see if I can pull it up. We can chant our su-ojas. Om su-ojas ot shas ka bhyam bis. Oh, you can't see this, can you? Om su-ojas ot shas ka bhyam bis nge bhyam bhyas ngas bhyam ngasi bhyam bhyas ngas os am ni os sup. We have our Maheshwara Sutra here. Okay, I can't seem to be able to pull up the Maheshwara Sutra, but we can chant it. You can pull it up in your book. Om A-I-Un Rilik A-Ong I-Ouch Hayavarartha Larna Nyamagarnanama Jabhanya Gardhadash Jabagardhadash Kapha Chatha Chatatav Kapai Shashasar Hal Iti Maheshwarani Sutrani. I'm going to switch screen. So if you can open your book to where Sugan is, we'll start there. So this is page, what we're going to start with is page 128. Page 120. So put your hand in page 126 and also have page 128. So 126 and 128. You We can have these both together for us. So as we've been seeing is that we have these supratyayas that are there for masculine and feminine, and neuter is slightly different, but not too different. We have these supratyayas that are there. And this is what we're chanting, su-ojas, am-ojas. That's with the it letters. This chart is without the it letters. So right, when we're doing this consonant ending nouns, halanta-subantam, then what we're doing is we're just doing Sanskrit math, right? We just take the pratipadika, sugan, and we're just adding all of these 21 forms. Right? We've noticed some things that in 1-1, sa comes and then it gets elided. So sugan, sugano, you can chant with me. Suganaha, that sakara becomes a visarga. Suganam, sugano, suganaha. And you can go sugana, suganbhyam, suganbihi. Sakara becomes visarga, right? Sugane, suganbhyam, suganbhyaha, suganaha, suganbhyam, suganbhyaha. Again, suganaha, suganoho, suganam, sugani, suganoho, sugansu. Yeah, then he, sugan, he, sugano, he, sugana. Yeah, do you feel successful, confident? This is our format with which we're going to start. So there was some homework. Hopefully those looked okay for you. I'm not going to go over them unless you have any questions, but they seem pretty okay, but you can let me know in the chat. While people are letting me know, what I want to do is I want to go backwards a little bit and look at page, this is page 127, where we have these 3 sections in masculine and feminine. So it looks like this, page 127, there's 3 sections that are there. So when we're looking at our chart, Panini Muni has designated 3 different sections in this 21-piece chart. Okay, there's 3 different sections which Panini Muni has given special designation. And where this will be used is there will be specific rules, Sandhi rules often, given to each of these sections. Okay. So the first section, which is this bold section, so 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-1, and 2-2. That bold section right there is what we call Sarva Namasthana. Sarva Namasthana. So the Sarva-namasthana, this has nothing to do with Sarvanama pronouns. This just is a technical name given to this part of the chart. It doesn't really have much to do with the pronouns. So don't get those 2 things kind of mixed up. Okay, so Sarva-namasthana. So if we look at our su-ojas, right, that's su-o-us, and o. Okay, just these 5. That's called Sarva-namasthana. And then what we'll see is another section is this white section, which is these. So this right here, so 2, 3, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 7, 1, 7, 2. That's called the bha section. I think you wanted some simple names, so put bha, just the letter bha. If you really want to impress someone, you can talk about bha and sarvanamasthana and pada section. But all this white area is called bha. So, and then this last section, which is this gray, is what we call pada. It's called the pada section. It's given the designation of pada. So that's the 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, and 7, 3. So that's really this bhyam bis section, and then su. The neuter, so this is the same, sorry, this first chart is the same for masculine and feminine. For neuter, the only difference is the sarvanamasthana is just this 1, 3, 2, 3. Okay. This is all considered bha when in sarvanamasthana. I mean, sorry, when in napumsakalinga, when in neuter. Okay, so sarvanamasthana is only this 2. Okay, so I hope that's clear. You'll see, you might be wondering, where is this useful for? We're going to see something today, which we'll see where it's useful. Okay. So just to again, right? These 3 and these 2 are called sarvanamasthana. All this is called bha. And this gray section is called pada. Okay, this is the next word we're going to look at is marut. Page 130. You can open your book to page 130. We don't need to see all of this right now because it'll be a bit confusing. We'll see it in a bit. But we're going to learn the word of pratipadikam of Marut, which is another name for Vayu, which is the wind god. Right? So Marut. That's why they call Hanuman Maruti, because it's born of Vayu, born of Marut. So the one who's born of Marut is Maruti. Okay, so this is a takaranta pullinga shabda, so the ending masculine word. And this is going to decline very similarly to sugan, meaning that we're going to take marut and we're going to add these sup pratyayas. Except there's some sandhi that takes place, and we're going to be seeing that. But first, let's just look at the chart. Let's not worry about the sandhi, right? First, we have maruta, marud. Then, right? Marut plus o, maruto. Marut plus as is marutaha. Marut plus marutam. Marut plus o, maruto. Marut plus as, marutaha. Marut plus a, Maruta. Okay, now there's a slight difference. This da will become dakara. We'll see a sandhi roll that makes that change. So then it becomes Marut-bhyam. So notice how in the pada section, a sandhi roll can take place. All of the pada section, you'll see this a sandhi roll take place. We'll see that in a bit. But Marut-bhyam, Marut-bhihi, then Marut plus a is Marute, Marut-bhyam, Marut-bhyaha, Marut plus as, Marutaha, Marut-bhyam, Marut-bhyaha, Marut plus as, Marutaha, Marut plus os, Marutoho, Marut plus Marutam, Marut plus I, Maruti, Marutoho, and Marutsu. Hey Marut, hey. So hey Marut or hey Marud, hey Marutao, and hey Maruta. There's no sandhi in this 7-3. We'll see other places, similar words which will give us sandhi for 7-3. There is technically a sandhi, and then it comes back. So we'll see that. Okay. So to understand, first we're going to look at this section and see the sandhi rule. Before this, because this is a bit more confusing. First, I want to look at this 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, 5, 3, this whole section here. Okay. What we need to do is we need to go to our sandhi book. Okay. In our sandhi book, you're going to find section 4, which is called Jashtvam. My page numbers are different. I assume it's around page 75. Look in your index, look for number 4 in the consonant ending sandhi. In the consonant ending sandhi, you'll find Jashtvam. There's 2 Jashtvam though. So look for the number 4 Jashtvam. Page 65. So, okay, mine is not adding. Okay, page 65. Some people 77. We have different books. Okay. So you might have 65, you might have 77, you might have, mine's 71. But you're looking for the index Jashtvam. There's 2 Jashtwams, okay? So there's an earlier Jashtvam and then a later Jashtvam. Make sure it looks like this. It should say 8-39 underneath. We've seen this before. We're just going to remind ourselves of this. What it says is, at the end of a pada, jal is replaced by jash. Yeah, so it is page 65. Don't go to 77, go to 65. So at the end of a pada, jal is replaced by jash. So we need to look at our Maheshwara Sutra. Right, jal, ja to la. So that's all of this. So 4th, 3rd class, 2nd class, 1st class, and sibilants. Essentially, all of the consonants except for nasals and semivowels. Basically, all of the consonants except for nasals and semivowels. So jal becomes jush. Jush is just this third class, jabagarnadash. Okay. So really, if you think of any consonant minus nasals and semivowels becomes third class. So what we wrote this last time, and we wrote this rule here. So basically, if you look at this chart, actually, it's a bit easier to see if you look at this alphabet chart. You might not have this in front of you, that's fine. But look, third class Jabagaradash is right here. And then all of the rest that we're looking at is this whole section. Jal. Jal is this whole section. Jash is just this section right here. So no matter what the consonant is, it's going to revert to this third class. Another way of saying that is if it's hard, it's going to become the soft of that section. Right? If it's a hard consonant within these first two sections, it's going to become the soft version. Okay, so let me make this simple, right? So if we have ka or ka, it's going to become in the third line. What is going to become ga when it's at the end of a pada. If it's ga, it's just going to become alpa prana. So it's going to become ga. If it's cha or ja, they're all going to become ja, right? So if it's any one of these two, it's going to become soft. Or if it's already soft, it's going to become alpa prana. Right? If it's a hard consonant, ta or ta, it's going to become da. If it's already soft, it's just going to become the alpa prana, this non-aspirate da. So that's our two rules. We said if it's hard, a consonant, it will become that alpa prana soft, the third class. If it's already soft, it will become the alpa prana soft consonant. Does that make sense? Ta or ta will become the, or dha will become the. Pa or pa will become ba, or bha and or bha will become ba. Technically, if these are if this third class is at the end of a pada, it will become itself, technically, because it's still applied, because it's part of jal. So let's look at the example, right? Marut. So this is 1-1 Marut. Okay? Marut becomes Marud. So let's look at it on the chart. Marut, which is part of jal, becomes Marud. Ta becomes da. Notice that these have an akara after them. We're not really implying the akara afterwards. So marut becomes marud. Now, this rule we haven't seen yet, but it can optionally be marut also. That's why you get two forms, marut or marut in 1-1. We will see this Sandhi rule in the next class, but I want you to just point that out. Why it becomes marud? Because of this rule, jashtvam, but optionally it can go back and become hard, and that's optional. So there's both forms that are possible in 1-1. There's a question about, does pa become ba? Yeah, so this pa will become ba, or pa will become ba. Okay. Now you see this marut. Okay, marut plus bhyam. Now you might be thinking, so here it makes sense because the sakara comes. So in 1-1 it makes sense, right? Because the sakara comes and then goes. So the marut is at the end of the pada, right? The takara is at the end of the pada here. But here, how is it at the end of the pada? Because I have bhyam afterwards. Do you see what I'm saying? Here, the sakara came, gave the status of pada because it's subanta, and then it left, so then we can apply the sandhi because it's at the end of the pada, end of the word. But here, I still have bhyam afterwards. How does this apply? For that, we have to remember what we learned at the beginning of the lesson. In that, we have 3 sections. If it's in this gray section, it's called what? Pada. So the anga, what's before that suffix, the anga, gets the status of pada. So now the letter at the end of that anga becomes padanta, ending at the end of the pada. So now marut, see, this bhyam came. Now this bhyam is in the pada section, which means that the anga gets the status of pada. Marut, this right here, gets the status of pada. And because now this is a pada, the ta is at the end of the pada. So now this applies because, right, we have a jal at the end of a pada. Right, we have a jal at the end of a pada. So therefore, it can be replaced by jash. So marut gets replaced by marud. Marud bhyam. Okay, just to complete the sandhi, right? So, right, marut 1-1 is marud, marud, or marut. Right? The 1-1 has the option. Marut 3-3, marud, then bis, bihi. Samidha, right? Samid. So the becomes the. So samid. Samid plus in 3-3. So samid. And then plus bis becomes samid bihi. Alpa prana. Ach. So chakara becomes cha cha ja. Right? Becomes ja. So it becomes aj. So we see ajanta. Ach ending. So vidyut becomes vidyud. Vidyut becomes plus 3-3 bihi, right? So vidyud bihi. Vak, so ka kha ga. So the third is ga. So ka becomes ga. So vag, then bis. So bihi. Vag bihi. Ach plus 33. So cha cha ja, right? So ja. So aj bihi. Yeah. Let me know. Put a question mark in the chat if this has gone over your head. I can. All to say, this is why we have the dakara instead of takara. Yeah, it is a little confusing, right? The dakara, tha tha da. The third one is da, so the dakara becomes da. So marut-bhyam. It's allowed to do that because it's in the pada section. Marut-bhihi, marut-bhyam, marut-bhyah, marut-bhyam, marut-bhyah. Marut. Okay, so this way we get the whole chart. Now we've seen why this whole chart becomes the way it does. We haven't seen why quite the two forms, but you can appreciate that there's two forms for now. Why is 7-3 Marut-su? Yeah, so we can simply see it right now, right? Marut, and what's the 7-3 su? So we just add them, Marut-su. Now, this is in the pada section, so it should become marud. But because of there's another sandhi rule, which we haven't seen, it goes back and becomes marut. But it does first get applied, so you do see marud-su, and then it becomes marut-su. So I'll show you that. We just don't have time to look at that quite yet. But you'll see that here. Marut-su. So we add marut plus su, 7-3, then it becomes marud-su because of the rule we just saw. But then, because of this next rule, which we haven't seen, it goes back and becomes hard again. This da becomes hard consonant and goes back to takara. So marut-su, and then final form. So that was a good catch. Why is 7-3 marut-su? Because technically what we've learned, it shouldn't be that way. So these words that you see at the bottom here, so for example, if you see the word at, when we say at, that just means short akara. So short a. So at. Sarva Brit, one who supports everything. You see this described, Ishwara is described as Sarva Brit. There was a big lightning storm in Boston yesterday, Vidyut. And then Kritsna Karma Krit. This comes in Bhagavad Gita. Kritsna Karma Krit, one who has done everything. So this is also this same takara ending. So what I would suggest for homework is to make the declension charts with these. Kritsna Karma Krit might be a bit too long, so up to you if you want to do that one. But I would definitely suggest making a declension chart just like this. Doesn't need to be you don't need to shade it and things like that, right? But you can make the chart. In the workbook, there's empty charts that you can use a copier machine and copy those pages and then fill those in too. There's a question, how does Maruti come from Marut? So we haven't seen, there's a suffix taddita suffix that comes, and it makes marut, marut, and then they add the ikara. Okay, so we'll finish our class. I know there was a question about, could we do some of the exercises? I didn't see that till later, so maybe in the next class we can see some exercises. But for this, there's no exercises homework for this because we haven't finished the Marut yet. Well, we're just going to make some declensions. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om.